top of Anderson,
over
cracks all the way back in,
it
it
is.
does. And he's locked in, but what a goal!
Inundated. So popular.
So here we are, a nearly sunny morning at Kenley. The sun is just trying to break through. We have Malcolm Fletcher, so far has lost only one match to his brother Robert, though he's ranked about 5th in the block. He's done really well. And he is playing Gary Phipps. I think the score has progressed since we last checked it to something more like 5-all. Let's say it's 5-all until we find out what it actually is. Gary Phipps has got the blue ball looking as if it's in hoop 11, but I'm thinking possibly yellow is going to knock it out, or perhaps it's come from the wrong direction. That's not quite clear. It will all emerge in the fullness of time. So good morning to everyone. We're waiting on a couple of external commentators who will join us soon, I hope. Josh Smith from New Zealand and Wade from Queensland, Wade Hart. But at the moment, it's me at Kenley, and we are watching with interest to see if Malcolm can manage to dislodge the blue ball, and he has failed. So now it's blue's turn to play. Blue is clearly on the right side of the hoop, and blue will run this hoop right down to hoop 12. What did I say? Blue will run this hoop towards hoop 12, but not right down to it. So now Gary may indeed be in the lead at 6-5. That would be a very interesting moment, because it would mean that this game could very likely go to a decider. One of them is certainly 6-5. Inconveniently, neither of them is wearing their clips on their shirts, so we can't tell which of them has used up all their clips. But Gary, who is Australian champion, doing very nicely. He's not done as well in this tournament as he has in the past. He's got 3 wins and 2 losses. But he's clearly very much in this game against Malcolm. Malcolm has sent black away from its excellent position in front of the hoop. I think he was playing the yellow ball, which means that it's blue actually to play and not black. So perhaps black was protecting blue, and I think blue has now got a clear shot on the hoop, though it is, as you can see, a fair way out. We've had a comment that these players have had 2 full days of play, including a long day on Friday when they played 3 rounds. They are probably getting fairly tired. It's a very demanding format. Oh, red has sent blue through. So that Gary was indeed 6. He's now won this game. And here we see this shot from Malcolm, obviously hoping that he will go through with the red, but instead he sent blue through. Blue has won the game, and we go to a decider. So when we say there have been 5 rounds, there have been 5 rounds, they're best of 3s. Some players have played 3 games in every match. I don't understand how anyone could play 16 games because there were only 5 rounds. We will go to the decider in this game, and I'm hoping that Serena may join me.
Happy to, Kate. I've enjoyed the play yesterday very much. Enjoyed the commentary. I'm in awe that we still have 12 courts fully banked. The clouds do look a bit threatening, though, don't they?
I think that's just around the edges. The sun is coming out. There's quite a lot of blue sky that I'm looking at. So I'm hoping that the clouds will all blow away. Now we've switched across to the second colours while we're waiting for the primaries to come back on and start their 3rd game. This is Kevin Beard playing the pink. He is playing Brett McHardy. That looked like an attempted clearance on the brown ball sitting in front of what appears to be hoop 8. Brett McHardy ran that without difficulty. He's just going to mark the ball in before he puts his clip on the hoop. I think he ran it without difficulty. Yes, here comes Kevin across to hoop 9. So I don't have a runner to go outside and tell me where all the clips are. Serena?
No, I was just about to say, do we know what the score is? But it's obviously been a phenomenal effort from all the volunteers on the ground to get all the courts ready. So not having a runner at the moment, I'm sure we'll sort it out.
I'm sure we will. At some point, they will run out of clips and one of them will have won.
So Rosie actually did play 16 games. She played 4 games, 4 matches of 3 and 2 matches of 2. So that made 16 games. So I think that's just a phenomenal effort over 2 days. Stressful competition, isn't it? Have to keep alert the whole time and hydrated and fed and calm. So Gary to come in with the brown, is he?
Yes, I think that was pink just played across.
Yes. Brett, rather.
Yes. And there we can see the brown just perched on the very edge of the court, attempting a major clearance. I suppose trying to clear white, which is next before green, and white will no doubt try and do something to prevent green from getting the hoop. I don't think it's likely that Kevin will try and jump green, but we must, and he doesn't show signs of it. He hasn't moved to pick the clips off the hoop. I think he's just trying to hit it, but it does look very straight in front. It could be one of those clearances which results, no, it didn't, in a hoop for the opposition. But he has moved it well away.
So we had a steady stream of referees attending to officiate. Kate, you've been there at the venue?
We have, and there's one of them leaning against the cubby. And here we come back to the Gary Phipps, Malcolm Fletcher game. We're perching in to see whether Pink can run this hoop. This is Kevin. But then we will, I think, swap to see the whole of the Gary Phipps and Malcolm Fletcher game. So here's Gary Phipps. And finally Malcolm, bringing their balls into hoop 1. So this is a decider. Pretty important to Malcolm. I don't think Gary is in for a placing, but Malcolm is. So that looks a little bit far to be a block on black. And blue comes across
Yes,
last. We have this new rule. Yeah, we have this new rule. Or perhaps not so new. We have this rule that the loser plays first. So in this case, the game started with the red ball from Malcolm because he lost the game before. About to clear blue. So black does actually, as we saw, have a run on the hoop.
So I have checked Croquet scores, Kate, and I agree with you. This is important for Malcolm, this game. He's already won 4 and another rejection.
So we were pondering would he clear yellow, but no. And yellow tried and it was also rejected. Here comes blue back again after that failed clearance. Very nice deep position. What would you do here, Serena?
Well, I don't think I'd be going that close to the hoop, Kate. But who am I to give advice? It's looking like a clearance. Probably not hit quite in the middle of the ball.
Black's now lurking quite dangerous to red if it should not go properly in.
We're thinking Malcolm will try for the hoop.
It looks to me as if Malcolm's going to try and jump his way through the hoop. He's just taken the clips off. I have been told that this works because you put a lot of spin on the ball when you jump. It's not just because in the olden days the hoops were wider at the top. They were constrained at the bottom, but they were quite wide at the top. With these quadway hoops, they're the same width all the way up, so you don't get the advantage of being wider at the top. But you do get the possibility of being able to spin your way through, which I think was what he was aiming to do there.
So we're assuming that if blue clears red to the boundary, Malcolm is confident enough that he'll come back and clear black, or no, blue's going to go for the hoop.
I don't think blue would go for red.
Mm.
Blue's going to clear yellow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game of attrition, isn't it, this one?
Mm.
Red now comes before black. Oh, that's nice. More like a centre ball, that one. There's one of the referees in the background. That's John Vandertouw, who is the tournament referee for this tournament. Put together a team of half a dozen referees, which is very useful because there are 24 games going on most of the time. So you do need quite a lot of referees to keep an eye.
What was Gary's thinking there, putting that black ball that deep and far beyond the hoop, do you think, Kate?
Well, red and yellow are both a fair way away, I think. So he's putting it where it won't be hit any further away. Ooh.
Yes, unlucky.
I'm not sure why it went quite so wide. That was interesting.
Not sure if it was planned, but yes, interesting.
That might just be out of reach for yellow.
Mm.
Little curve on that bit of lawn. It's a very interesting mallet that Gary has, hasn't it? Well, he touched it, I think. I saw yellow move.
I think we're seeing more of those mallets. More people have some sort of special configuration to suit them.
Oh,
A miss.
that was an unfortunate miss.
Mm.
A hit would have left him in a very strong position.
I'm still very impressed that the under-21 mascot was named after Gary Phibbs. What an honour.
That's nice, isn't it?
I did ask one of the commentators yesterday, Tricia, do we know of any other sport where the mascot's named after an elite player?
And what did she say?
Didn't know. We don't know. It's a question for the viewers.
Maybe they can fill us in the chat.
Mm. good camera angles we have here that we're able to see the full court and the movement of the balls across the entire court. This is good work.
What I've been struck by is how little we see of the other game, which is still happening, but you would almost think it wasn't, because there's such a nice focus on the game we're interested in. Now this is interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
Black blocking yellow. If blue poised to clear red, what will he do? I think he's just going to clear black. No, he's done that, putting black into the hoop.
And he's done that before in the other game, didn't he? He gave away the last hoop at hoop 12.
Yes, he did. He put it straight through that time.
So trying to avoid a jump, but never.
I think the jump is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, they haven't got any clips on hoops yet because this is their first hoop, but there will be clips from 2 clips from the seconds game.
So the angle that went, I don't think that made the hoop. We can't clear it. I can't see. It was so quick. But I think the fact is, if it had gone through the hoop, it would have gone up straighter, further up the court, wouldn't it? So, yep, we're right.
I think so.
Gary's to make the hoop.
Yeah. And Gary is getting his clip out. So, yeah, we're pretty sure it didn't go through. I think he's just signalled him to send his ball across to the penalty corner, penalty point
area.
Spot. Area. Oh, that's a very nice ball.
Nice.
Yep. So here is red hitting off from that penalty area that you can be sent to if you've gone more than halfway without hitting an opponent ball.
Too far.
Yeah, you'd think so. So it may have been, yeah, I think so. And he didn't return the favour.
I've been very intrigued by a report that's appeared on social media that says that hockey is the second most female-dominated sport, and I think they mean it has more females than males that play it. And I was intrigued as to what is the first sport that has more female participants than males.
Netball. Netball.
Archery,
surely.
I think.
I thought netball was almost exclusively women. Men.
There are some male and composite teams now, but apparently figuring very high up there are both archery and soccer. But after a good few minutes spent researching, not a mention of croquet.
No. Well, they're probably taking the top 20 sports or something by participation because it's easier to find numbers for those. And maybe they're talking numbers rather than percentages as well. Kevin standing there ready to move his white ball if the other one came and hit it.
Might just have missed the block there, I think, but we'll see what happens. Well, I suppose that's a ball, yellow ball, yes, in a defensive position, but the black plays first.
Not much use for that.
That was a good clearance. It did move black off away from a hoop running position.
I don't think he's happy with that. It's gone to a place where it can't score.
Too big an angle, isn't it? Yes. I think black probably just going to take position. It would seem unlikely he's going to try and go in. What do I know? Good clearance.
Yeah, got it well away. I think that was a little pause for the primary game. Has he got it across far enough? No, not quite. You'd think it might almost help Malcolm.
Yes, it can sort of provide a slightly bigger target if there's a ball near the hoop. I think that's Malcolm's.
Oh, he's got it. Definitely got it. So we go to 1-1. Nice tight match here. We've got the secondary game playing on hoop 11, so there's a few balls flying around, going past each other. Yes, so he's gone on the short side, give him a good scope for clearance. Blue very nicely positioned, but yellow is well positioned to clear.
Interesting to know how many times these two have met.
We can probably check
how
that
well
out.
they know. How well they know each other's game.
Yes, I'll have a look and see.
Well done, Malcolm. The blue didn't go through the hoop.
You don't really expect that it will go through the hoop.
He must be thinking, I'm jinxed.
I remember early in my competitive career, I had one competition where I put through about 4 opponent balls. It was so annoying.
It's not something we expect at the elite level. It's just sort of unlucky, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't expect it.
Well, wonderful clearance, Kate. Wonderful.
Amazing. This family of players, the Fletchers, are so skillful, really.
I think we have 3 couples playing at this event, maybe even more. We have
Rosie and Pete Landreeb, Peter Freer and Kate McLaughlin. Who are the other ones?
Brett and Janine McCarty. Brett and Janine McCarty.
Yeah.
And Lester Hughes and Claire.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, indeed. Well, it can be a very family game, as you know.
Perhaps a smidge too far, but we'll see.
Just trying to find the answer to that question. I'm just having to reduce the number of games because Malcolm has not played enough golf croquet games to come up in the listings.
With all the live streaming today, I think if I was playing in a major competition, I'd be actually watching the opponent play on YouTube or Vimeo or
Absolutely.
KO.
Yeah. Here we go, Malcolm Fletcher. Well, according to this, he's never played him at all.
There's a surprise.
There've been, well, Gary, the thing is, Gary's played a lot of games, but Malcolm hasn't. Malcolm has been an association player over most of his competitive career. So he's played really quite few competitive golf croquet games. He played none last year, which is why he wasn't coming up in the rankings, and 7 the year before and 8 the year before that. In 2008 and 2009, when he was quite young, he played a few, 15 games one year and 13 games the next year. Then 4, 4, 8, 7. It's not been his code. So he hasn't had a great many games against anybody. None in the last year. No ranking games in the last year. So the fact that he's doing so well really says if you play association, you can achieve quite a lot in golf croquet without being a golf croquet specialist.
Mm-hmm. We're looking at a jump from Gary.
No, I don't think so. I think he's trying to. Well, he may be. Has he taken the clips off?
Yes.
It doesn't. Okay, then yes. And it will be really good to get an angle where we can see through the hoop.
Oh. Karma, says Malcolm. Thank you. I've put you through. Thank you for putting me through.
There you go.
Lovely shot. Could be cannon fodder, but well placed. Oh, I lucky that.
Well, that was blue. He's got another go, of course.
So I did have 2 goes at the yellow, but we'll see if Malcolm can get up to hoop 6. So the score would be 3-all, and it looks like Gary's been directed. Oh no, well, Gary
not
might be
3-all.
directed to a penalty area.
Not 3-all. They're just going to hoop 6.
Oh, yes, 3-2. You're right.
He went well through, didn't he? Oh, very nice. And away goes red. Gary does seem to be having the better of it.
Gary seems to be blocking yellow's path. Do you think he's checking the eye line?
There's a moment when we can see the second colours wandering around the court.
We're just waiting for is Malcolm waiting for second colours or just reflecting?
I think waiting.
Mm-hmm.
There's Kevin just moved away.
Yeah.
Oh, too far, too far.
Oh, yes. We're just checking the scores, the score for this game. It actually does help when they carry the clips on the back of their jackets. From a distance, it's very hard to see the colour of the clips on the hoop, so we're just checking the score for this game. So we're expecting Malcolm to clear black here, but we're not sure that yellow can see blue.
We think probably
Excellent
not.
clearance.
So we can't actually see 3. I know it was a clearance on blue. It cleared blue. He really wanted to clear black. This is black getting the hoop.
Yes.
So he cleared the wrong ball. Disappointing. So that looks like 4-2.
Now playing for hoop 7. You can see balls from the other game appearing in the vision. Now I'm sure Malcolm didn't want that to happen. Gary has cleared yellow to the boundary, as we can see. Nice middle ball shot. So we're expecting the only shot that Malcolm will consider will be yellow on blue, or maybe a blocking shot. We can see signage still up in the background there, relating to the Mac Rob that was held here in November last year. Huge event. Anyway, Gary lines up for hoop 7. Yes, bit of an angle.
That was ambitious, but it did go straight into the leg. Possibly, it may have been more of a possibility than it looked.
Kate, did you see that? That went through. I'm sure it went through. We're just playing the yellow ball down to the next hoop. Yes, that is Malcolm's hoop.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Could we need to see a replay of that. That was so surprising.
I apologise for the delayed surprise, but we were so concerned about getting the score right.
That was black that put red through.
Mm.
We weren't expecting it at all.
Well, I did make the comment earlier that we don't expect that at all at elite level, and we've seen it about 3 times in the last 2 games. This is interesting. You don't often see the 4 balls around the hoop quite so close.
So blue is to play next. Yellow can't actually see blue. Blue, I think, has got a line on the hoop. So Malcolm, with his AC background, I think is going to try and rush, yes,
Yes,
black onto
bombard.
blue. And that's what he did. Now, we are missing a couple of commentators who were going to join us early. I think they are both watching the very exciting competitor event, which is the under-21 final, which is underway as we speak. And I think that's reached its final game. And that's what the commentators are watching. So we would absolutely understand if our audience here were to be distracted and go across and watch that. We will catch you up on what's been happening here. We will just keep watching it for you. But the under-21 world titles in New Zealand have been extremely exciting and unfortunately totally coincident with this event. And that looks as if the secondary match has finished. So the primaries will have the court to themselves at least for a little while.
We're thinking the score is actually 5-3 to Malcolm. So this is an important hoop for Gary. He doesn't want to let Malcolm streak out to a 6-3 lead at hoop 9.
He's done very well.
Mm.
Now black can't see yellow. He's a bit nervous about going for the hoop at this stage. Perhaps the angle doesn't look very good. Clearing red, which did have a hoop shot, but leaves yellow to clear blue, which is in a good hoop scoring position.
Yellow may remain in a nice position in front of the hoop. Not too bad.
Yellow does remain in a nice position in front of the hoop. Hasn't hit blue too far. I think that is the corollary of that, really. But blue has not succeeded in blocking it. Malcolm's just checking out what black can see. Black can no doubt see yellow. So what's he going to do here, Serena? There's not much he can do to move black. Black's almost on the corner as it is.
So that's interesting. We would have thought, well, he hasn't moved him. Yeah, very interesting, isn't it? He hasn't moved him that far. We would have thought he'd probably try and block or take the red in closer to the hoop. But they don't need our advice, do they, Kate? They're elite players.
Well, they're not listening to our advice. They're not listening to our advice. In any case, we could have fantastic advice and they wouldn't hear it. So, but a very important shot, this one. And it's beautiful.
Yes.
Oh. And that was a miss. So Gary kindly marking the spot and putting the ball just outside the line to say, I don't claim it was exactly there, but it was more or less there. That's how I always take that positioning to be. It's what I do when I'm bringing a ball in. If I know exactly where it was, I put it on the inside of the line. But if I don't, Gary.
Well, can Malcolm clear? Or is he? Yes, it's got to be a clearance shot. No?
No, I don't think so, because he's got yellow. Yellow's on the line. Yellow cannot be moved because yellow is an outside agency. All that black can do is try and block yellow. And of course hit red.
Right, yellow,
Or,
important shot.
Red. Yeah, now yellow's ball is not quite in the right place. Do we see him moving it in? Yes. Is he going to go for the hoop, do you think? I think so.
Yes, we'll agree and we'll see what happens.
We're speculating here. No, he came off the wire as well. He did go for the hoop, though.
And yes, sadly, landed quite a distance away.
So Gary's taking position. He's not going to go for the hoop again. Nice clearance.
Beautiful clearance. Oh.
So, of course, with association, you have to be able to hit a ball at a long distance because very often you can't get into the game. I mean, you cannot get into the game unless you can hit another ball. And very often you're left with the only ball you can hit being a very long way away. So it's not surprising when association players are very good at clearances like that.
At least 17 yards, that one. Wonderful clearance.
And here comes blue, nicely positioned in front of the hoop. Now, that seems to be another convention about placing the balls. I said before, well, you put it on the outside if you're not totally claiming that's where it went out. But that's not what Malcolm was doing just then. I have heard people say the referee told me not to put it on the line until the ball's about to be
Ball is ready
played.
to be played back into the
Yeah,
game. Yes, because it's an outside agency sitting on the court. Yes. So leave it off the court till it's ready to come in. Yes.
Yeah, so that's not actually in the rules, but I can understand that it's a sensible thing to do, because if you do hit it, you've hit an outside agency and you have all the problems of, okay, where would your ball have gone if you hadn't hit it? But it has to go back exactly where it was. So being outside the court, quite sensible. That was blue.
And another
That
clearance.
was blue. Yeah, next ball to play. Bouncing right off the concrete on the edge. They're really fighting this one. There was discussion yesterday about timed games. There have been some games that have been timed out in this competition, and some of them at quite elite level. And the players were discussing it at their meeting last night. And the comment was made that when you have a very high level contestation like we're seeing here, where you've got excellent clearances, it's not that anybody is playing slowly, but that the hoop is taking a while to get the hoop because it's being so strongly contested. And I think that's what we're seeing. You wouldn't say that it was in any way slow play. Nobody is playing slowly. If time were to be called on it, it would be very unfortunate.
I think they're moving to their balls quickly. They're making their decisions quickly. Yes, I mean, we've had hoops that are taking like 10, 15 minutes to decide. So what was the general feeling? That they prefer to have untimed games, which would be very difficult with a 12 courts fully double banked, but good clearance.
Yes, the dilemma is that if you have untimed games, then it's very difficult to guarantee that you can finish the competition in 3 days. So would you then have a smaller competition with fewer double banked games, which is part of the reason that it's hard to finish it in the 3 days? So not such full courts, or play for more days? Or have time limits, but not on the last game in a match. If your matches were, as this one is, 1-1 in the first 2 games, not time the third game, because you can see that it's not a matter of slow play, it's a matter of very equally matched players.
Yes, there's a lot of consideration. Really, we do need to respect the effort that's gone into the tournament managers put into even just keeping play going, isn't it? Manoeuvring everybody around. And just as a point of interest, Kate, Robert Fletcher, Malcolm's brother, and has lost his first game of the competition.
Oh.
David Handbidge has taken a game off Robert Fletcher. Go to Croquet scores. Yes, they're up to date. Well done to everybody there as well.
And that hoop is to Gary. He'll be relieved at that. So that's gone to a third game because he won the first one. That match with David Handbidge.
Yes, third game.
Gone to a decider. That's a bit out of reach for us. That's on court 7. Here we are. We come back to watching this hoop to claw back to 4-5. So black can't see that. Black can see yellow. Yellow is next to play. Black goes for yellow. And we can welcome Edward Wilson, who is joining the commentary team, fresh from watching the live streaming of the under-21s in Auckland. Ed, you say welcome. Good morning, Edward Wilson from South Australia. Would you like to say a few words about the under-21s before we update you on this match?
Yeah, well, g'day everyone. Obviously, this match is heating up into a good spot. Mau's, I'm not sure what he's gone for there. It looks like he went for blue or the hoop. He might have had a double. That's an extraordinarily aggressive option to take on at such a crucial hoop. But we have just seen Aston Wade of the UK beat Forsey Helmley 6-7 in the fourth game of the best of 5 final. Absolute thriller to watch. Forsey played extraordinarily well in the last few hoops of the match and hit some massively crucial shots dead centre, and unfortunately missed one positional shot sort of towards the end of hoop 13, which I'd say just about cost him the match. So look, tremendous to watch, and if anyone has access to rewatching it on YouTube, I think it's on a Maori live streaming channel. I highly recommend doing so because it was some seriously classy play. But Malcolm's gone from a very strong position at this hoop to not having much at all here. He can either shoot at blue, shoot at black, or set up for the hoop. It looks like he's just going to approach in. The only risk is if Gary hits red to the north boundary, he may be wide from black. But other than that, it's a fairly good position to be in. And Malcolm should be able to generate a short boundary here with Gary playing yellow to the boundary. So Malcolm can clear black away, sitting in front here, and then yellow can clear blue. So as long as this shot from Malcolm sort of stays within a couple of feet of where black is now. Oh dear, half ball's not very good. So now the advantage goes straight back to Gary because red will, when it is clearing, it'll be clearing back down the lawn. So we should see 5-all here if Gary can hold his nerve for a couple of good positional shots, which he has.
Which he's been doing very well. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got really good touch. Really nice technique.
The main
to have
problem
good
he's
touch as
had,
well. Very solid.
I think in this game, the main thing that has been difficult for him is the number of hoops that he's bounced off. He's gone for hoops maybe at a slightly greater angle than you would expect, but he's also bounced off, you would have thought, quite makeable hoops. So he's just been a bit challenged.
The lawns look fairly dry, and in the short amount that I watched yesterday of play, the hoops did look a little tricky, like really well set in the ground, and you can see how dry the ground is rather than being sort of bright green and waterlogged as it has been regularly the last few months. So it looks like a good Canley to be playing croquet at, and you can just see there the reaction, like Gary's gone at that dead weight and it's still bounced around in the hoop. So Malcolm really needs to clear black here and just hope that yellow can get blue out of the jaws. It's really his only option to try and stay in this hoop, but otherwise it's looking fairly dire. So in this first 8. How are we looking? Is Robert's position too far ahead of Mao?
No, Robert is actually 1-1 in his current match. It's the first game he's dropped in the competition. So,
Righto, so Peter's playing fairly well then.
So I don't think he was playing Peter. Hang on.
Yeah, so Peter's the only. Oh, sorry, Duncan Hector. Sorry, David Hanbridge. David Hanbridge. Righto.
Yeah, he's
Cool.
playing David Hanbridge. Yeah, so they're one game all.
Gary.
So who knows? Robert has not dropped a game. He's won all his matches, and Malcolm has lost only one. Like the game he played against Robert, the match he played against Robert. So they're neck and neck, really. Here, Malcolm is 1-1. If he loses this, then Pete Landry comes into contention. Gary Phipps comes into contention. They're all on 4 wins. Yeah, I don't know how Pete's going at the moment. I'll have a look. But if Robert drops something, that will be a serious. Yeah, that will be really serious.
Is that runnable? Yeah. I mean, over a best of 3, I'd say it'd be fairly surprising to see Robert go down. That's a good shot by Gary. Mackham's left that too close on the wrong side of the hoop there. Yeah, I mean, over a best of 3, I can't see David beating Robert. He's very strong, obviously. So, I mean, either Robert's had a patch of really poor play, or David's been able to find something, to worry Robert in his play, whether it's going for long hoops and scoring them, or something similar.
Yeah.
But that's not a very sustainable way to win a best of 3 match. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the result ends up being there.
So obviously, if Robert wins, he's on 6. He's hard to catch.
Yeah.
I don't think Pete Landry couldn't catch him. He's played. He's only got 1 match to go, and that's against Robert. But he's on 4 wins.
It's only Malcolm
so
who's a chance of.
Yes.
It's only Malcolm who's also a chance of winning this.
Yeah. And that would depend on Robert losing at least something.
Shot. Yeah. Yes, well, Peter's also, how I just mentioned about potentially David's brought something out in a match. Peter's one of those really top-level players who can bring something to the table in a best of 3. And, get himself a win over 3 games against a stronger opponent. He's done that many times against many top players through his career. You just need to look at his record to go, wow, that guy's a real contender and high-level match player. So you never know. He can definitely take 2 games off Robert for sure. And conditions look even enough that if he finds a run of good form, he's definitely in with a good crack. That's a fairly interesting one from Gary. He clearly doesn't think that Malcolm can run that hoop. He's hitting well enough that would have been a fairly sure shot. And he hasn't. He's looked a little bit not out of sorts, but actually he looks like he plays a very similar game to Greg Fletcher, which is hit hard regularly and hope that you just hit straight enough. It's sort of the philosophy that Edmund Fordyce uses, who's obviously a fantastic player. But if you're not middling everything all the time, it can end up really poor. This is fairly ominous now for Malcolm. Gary's got yellow in his sights. Very easy shot. He's hit it half
He's made
ball.
it
He hasn't gone
difficult for
terribly
himself,
far,
though.
but it means that Malcolm can easily come back in front.
And blue, I think, is hampered by red. We'll probably clear red rather than trying to go for the hoop.
It depends on yellow, I think, where yellow goes, whether he stays there and just keeps them hampered. If he managed to stay within 2 yards of the hoop with black, oh, gee, now that is a terrible shot. Where has that gone? 2 yards in front of the
That
hoop,
did
and
the
Gary
same
won't be able
thing
to
as
do anything
black,
there.
you know. They did the same thing as
Yeah,
black. I
yep.
think they may have hit something on the court and wandered.
It's definitely
Because
swung
black
off in the
curved
last
around
few
and went
yards
over
there,
it.
but that never started on line. And his line really should have been to be 4 yards straight in front of the hoop there, or even slightly
Deep
east
and
of the
straight in
line of the
front.
hoop. Wow, this is interesting. Is Gary just giving himself? Okay, well that's fairly poor because Malcolm can just go in front of the hoop, and then black might have a clearance to it. Red, but yellow's all over blue, can clear that. I don't know what Mal's looking at here. He just needs to hit this a foot. Yeah, perfect.
Just move it a bit out of the line so blue doesn't hit it. When blue's
Yeah, I
cleared
mean,
by
so
yellow.
it's in front of the hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, good shot from Gary,
well.
but he's gone a little bit too far away with
He,
black there. So Malcolm, if he can hit this centre ball and fairly gently, because blue won't be clearing, he doesn't need to hit this hard. Yeah, and he's gone too far away again there. He's still within range, but he just didn't need to hit that anywhere near as hard. Having a 2 yard clearance on a ball in front of the hoop versus a 5 yard clearance means there's a massive change in how much control you can have on your back ball. And when it comes to these sort of middle hoops, especially when it tightens up at hoop 11, it can really come down to that. But if Malcolm can put in a good approach here, then we should see the favour swing towards Malcolm. So interesting, Malcolm was just flexing his wrist there. He hasn't played a lot of golf croquet in the last few years, and with a
didn't
stiffer
play
mallet
any
being
ranked
the
games
SC
last
now.
year.
Yeah.
Didn't play any ranked games at all
There you
last
go.
year. He's not on the rankings. And I think everyone's a bit short of match practice because of the COVID time. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. That's a fairly interesting position to be in now. So as I said, if he hit the previous Roquet a little bit more gently, or with a little bit more control, and had yellow sort of within 2 yards of that hoop, he could have played that stroke again with control. Where now yellow is a long way away and not in front of the hoop. So the mid-paced shot is something that I truly believe all golf croquet players should aspire to be better at. Because now, look, red's not good enough to guarantee this hoop for Malcolm. He can't really sit in front. He's got to try a very tricky long hoop where if he had yellow in the vicinity, it's either both safer. The lucky thing is Gary hasn't managed to put in a good approach with either black or blue, so he can have a shot at it, and as long as he doesn't go too far away, he should be all right.
Is he going to hit bang, bang? Yeah,
That's a
so
great
he
shot.
hits hard,
Yep.
and he got it. Wow. Oh, we'd like to see that one again. Here we go. So that's 6-5 to Malcolm. Takes the lead again. He was up 5-3, and then Gary won his way back to 5-all.
Good job. Yep, he'll need to
that
hit
was
another
red.
one of those though if he wants to win this hoop. Oh yeah, good point.
It's blacks to play.
And he
And
sent
blues
blue
now.
all the way up to hoop 13.
Yeah, on the boundary. It's no, not a good position at all, really. It's if black gets the hoop, we go to 13 and blue's legit. Well, sigh of relief from Malcolm.
So where does Malcolm go now? Is it wide
That's
from
an
black
interesting
to hoop
question.
12? Or he doesn't want to go in front because black's got an easy clearance. Somewhere around where he is probably isn't bad. He's looking at the jaws here, which if he can get
I
in there
think he
also
is,
isn't
yeah.
bad.
From this angle, you'd say he's just going to come off the left to right wire. But no.
Oh, that looks
Pretty
pretty
nice.
good.
Pretty nice.
Oh, geez,
But
I think black's got a
is it
massive in off there.
Oh,
Right, that's
whoa.
popped out a lot further than I thought it had. I thought that was, oh, it's blue blocked black.
Oh.
It has. Oh, no. Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Well, red
dear.
can just come in here and see what sort of shot black can get. It looks like it can hit half ball on the left of yellow, which might be enough to get it out and away, but yellow can clear blue or potentially run the hoop. So I think all red needs to do is come in here and force black to clear it and see what yellow can do, because I don't know that yellow can run the hoop, but it can very easily clear blue. So advantage back to Malcolm with an unlucky self block from Gary there.
You sent that a long way.
Gary can hit yellow.
He's going to jump. He's going to jump. He's going to try and do that in off with a jump. Well, this is an interesting shot. Oh.
Now Malcolm can, well, you could say he's almost definitely going to win this from here. I don't know that yellow can run the hoop in this shot, but it can come to 6 inches dead in front. Oh no, that looks fairly easy actually. The angle that he's looking at. He's looking at where black's gone, so maybe he will just come to a couple of inches straight in front, and then look at wide from blue. Maybe put the block on black with red, depending on how easy the shot is. Which he's looking at now, so just coming very slightly in front of the hoop, so wide from blue, maybe in a spot where red only has to move a few inches to be able to. Yeah, there you go. So it's almost on the wired line there. He's just looking at running the hoop. No.
Can't tell. Just something that's
Yeah.
looking at all the options. And he's done
Good
it.
shot. Yeah. Match to
And
Malcolm.
that
Very
is
good. So
match to Malcolm. Well done, Malcolm. That was very tight all the way through. We might bring up the leaderboard at this point if we can get it on Croquet scores. So we'll put the screen across while the guys here find Croquet scores, and we're looking just at the first 8.
yeah, well, this gives us both. Well, Malcolm on 5 games and Robert on 6 now. So it's within reach if Robert drops a match here. Either to David,
Yes.
who seems to have a good chance, or to Peter. And if Malcolm wins his last match, it could go. I don't know how the.
But just wait till we get Croquet
final-
scores up, and you can take people through it.
Righto.
We can start with the summary for the first 8, and then look at the actual game scores in the grid. Okay, here we go.
Righto. So there we see hasn't been updated yet.
So it hasn't been updated with this game.
The Gary Fitz game. So Malcolm's now on
I think
5 matches. Robert's on 6.
Robert has beaten David Hanbidge.
Yep.
That was the game where he lost.
So
that was the match where he lost a game. So if Peter, as you say, Peter can beat people, if that match against Peter goes towards Peter, can Malcolm get up? He's got to, can you just move it down a bit so we can see who Malcolm's going to play? Malcolm's going to play.
So Malcolm's going to play Brett McHardy in the next game, who was watching dutifully from the shelter shed to try and get some tabs on what his opponent was up to. So
not having seen him or ever played with him, I don't think. Yeah. So
I'd say he would have, but you know, always good to watch someone as talented as Malcolm in full flight, even if you know he is or isn't your next opponent.
So if we can leave the second 8, can you take us to the summary for the first 8?
So that's pre-updating Malcolm's win. So Malcolm's now on 5 and 1 loss, and Robert's on 6 and no losses. So it will come down to Peter versus Robert and Malcolm versus Brett. Looks like Malcolm